We're late, but don't blame us for blame the others. We were here on time. They will be joining us soon. Welcome to Beat the Drop. Guys, there's only one place we can start. There's only one place we can start. All I want to see in the chat right now, after you've hit that like button and subscribe to everyone's channel, is popcorn emojis. Because Mr. Popcorn himself, Rich, fair play, boys, that he's actually appeared and he's on time. But just show me those popcorn emojis in the chat, please. Because, Rich, how in God's name can you lose to Luton? Not even Forest lost to Luton, man. Have you played Luton yet, John?
No.
Oh, your time is coming, man. Your time is coming. Rich. Where are you, Rich? Where are you? Talk to us, Rich. What happens, man?
Right. I'm just going to get this out of the way. Luton, well done. You were brilliant. You have been brilliant at home. You deserved the win. At least you deserved the draw from that game. So fair play to you. You had a game plan. Your manager made adjustments during the game. Fantastic. As for Roy Bloody Hodgson, I'm done. I'm right out. I am officially right out. I've said it on my channel. I am right out. I'm done. I'm done with the board. I'm just done with the club. Like, we take one step forward, 15 steps backwards. We're just happy to be in the league sort of attitude. I mean, honestly, it's so annoying. It's frustrating. I'm absolutely livid. Not so much the fact that we lost. You can lose to anyone in the Premier League. It's the manner in which we've just lost the last two games. We have been defensively shambolic. We have had no tactical nous. And all of a sudden, Olise was our best player defensively, which says that's the problem. We've all of a sudden gone back into our shell, gone into a defensive block, and we've literally gone back to playing Roy ball. It is a joke. We have got way too much talent in our team to be playing the dire football that we've been playing at this moment in time. I am furious. Absolutely furious. I hate it. Big up Mike, by the way. Wicked win against us a couple of weeks back. Fair play to you. But we're just crap. We are absolutely rubbish. We've got too much talent to be playing defensive-minded football. Joachim Anderson, you have been brilliant this season. But my goodness me, how are you if you're going to shield the ball properly, like at least shield the player, do something. In fact, kick the ball off the pitch, do something. Sorry, I'm just so annoyed right now. I am so annoyed. And apologies, my internet is so crap, but I still wanted to be here.
Bit like your teammate,
Is it times like this, Rich, you wish you swore?
And the girls in the other room, Rich.
We are so bad.
Rich,
we are
the thing that's confusing me is the new hairstyle didn't help your team's form, bro.
The new hairstyle was for me to make myself feel better.
Nice though. Looks good though, mate. Looks good.
Yeah, I don't know where we go from here, because there are random rumors coming out that Roy's under pressure. The problem is the potential replacement's Paddy McCarthy, who's the assistant. So it means nothing's going to change. Now it's a mess. Listen, I know that Roy was going to stay just until the end of the season. That's not my gripe. My biggest gripe is with our board. We came out of this transfer window short. We've come out of the transfer window short. And like I said, we got Olise back thinking fantastic. He was really good against Everton when he came on for the 30 minutes. Unfortunately, we didn't hold on to at least a point there. And then he starts the game fantastic against Luton, and now we've lost Eze and Doucouré. Eze potentially for a month. Doucouré is probably out for the rest of the season. And guess what? Roy doesn't like playing the youngsters anyway. So we're going to have more of Jeffrey Schlupp.
Premier League winner, mate. Premier League winner.
We are screwed. Well, yeah, that was when he played left back for Leicester. So I'm not having it. Listen, we are screwed. We are absolutely screwed. Somehow we're gonna have to. We need 4 points from the next 2, which we're not getting. We're losing to West Ham. I probably would say we'll lose to Bournemouth too, even though that's a home game. We're in a mess. We're in a mess right now.
Do you feel better? Do you feel better?
What you know, have you've like come firmly out the closet now, as it were, with Roy? What kind of percentage would?
Don't tell my wife that.
Yeah.
I know. As I was saying it, I thought this is going to come out wrong. I got backache, by the way, so if I laugh, you'll see me wince at the same time. What kind of percentage do you reckon the fan base is still fully behind Roy?
Roy.
5.
Roy.
5%.
You counted them. I mean, there's only 100 of you, so it's an easy count.
That's kind of untenable, isn't it? I mean, I would think that, you know, even attracting players, say in January, players often go to a club, and now people might not like this, but often go to the club because of the manager. They respect the manager, what he thinks he can do. It's really difficult in your situation because A, it's Roy Hodgson, not particularly inspiring, and B, they're going to think, well, this guy's only going to be here for another 6 months. Will the next manager fancy me, or will I be out on my ear? So it's going to be difficult for you to attract players in January, don't you think?
Even if we were trying to attract players, we've got a very tight ownership.
Yeah,
they won't spend anyway, and when they do spend, it's nonsense. 15 million on a goalkeeper. Like,
how is Dean Henderson,
Rob,
by the way?
You know, I don't understand why we got Dean Henderson when we didn't need one. Roy Hodgson wants out. Rob Holding, sorry. I hope Roy Hodgson wants out. Apparently Bournemouth are interested in Holding. So it just says it all. The transfer policy is a joke. Parish is a joke. Texter, who's come in and he's bought this kind of multi-club model, he actually wants to get Palace to a state where they can maybe get players from Lyon and the other teams that are linked with us. But Parish is like, no.
They're bottom of the French league, aren't they?
Yeah, but they got some good players there. They have got some good players. I'll take that. Shirky. Shirky's a quality player. Under 21 French international. Yeah. They have got some good players. So
Rich, now that you're way out, right? There's a couple of questions coming to you from the chat. Just very quickly, right? Jimmy can't make it tonight. He's hiding from John. His apologies. He's sick. Jace is on his way, but Jace is always late. So Jace is Jace. Yeah.
He likes to make the entrance, doesn't he?
Hiya, Mikey. Good to see you. Looking very festive, Mikey. Looking very festive.
Very.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I needed something to cheer me up over the last 2 weeks. Do you get what I mean?
Don't worry, mate. We're coming to you in a second because I got a few interesting thoughts that I want to share with you. But Rich, let's finish off on this Woy thing. Mark's asking me, would you take Wob Edwards over Roy Hodgson? Which?
Yeah, yes. Because
really?
he can. Yeah, you know what it is with Roy? He sets his team up and then doesn't know what to do afterwards. There is zero in-game tactics. Against Everton, when although Onana came off, and I was thinking, thank goodness Onana came off. I think it was Gay that came on. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. But there was a tactical shift, and it worked for them. We didn't respond to it, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if things are going wrong, there's no game plan, and then the only time we actually showed any fight was when we went 2-1 down and we went into 12 minutes of added time. That's the only time Why do we have to show any sort of fight when we're losing? Why can't we go and just impose ourselves and win games?
Forest fans, does that sound familiar to you? Next question.
And no, I don't want Cooper. No.
That's the next question from Wake Up. Would you take Cooper?
No, he plays strikers in defensive midfield. I don't want Cooper.
Don't make me laugh.
So hold on, Rich. Let me get this straight, right? You are way out. You would take Rob Edwards, who is managing crappy Luton, but you wouldn't take Steve Cooper.
No, this is
That's
what
really
I'm saying.
surprising. That's really surprising.
I see what Edwards is trying to do. Don't forget Luton, and I can't even call them crap because they've beaten us, but there's not a massive budget there, but they have a way of playing and they stick to it. Do you understand? Like, everyone knows what they're doing, no matter what player comes in. Don't forget, unfortunately for them, they had Issa Kabore, who's normally their right wing back. He couldn't play because he had an unfortunate incident in the international break. But then they put in whoever they put in. I think it was Giles or whatever, and he still did the same job. Do you understand? Like, no matter what player you take out and put in, there's a way of playing, and that's what I mean by Rob Edwards with Cooper. See, Cooper and Roy are like, they must be best friends. Like, it's literally tit for tat with them. It's like, just roll the dice and see what happens, sort of thing. Like, honestly,
would you take Sean Dyche?
No. The reason being, we're not good playing long ball football. Because Dyche tried to play passing football with Everton and it didn't work. And now that he's more direct, it's working for them. We ain't got any good players to hold up the ball anyway. So it wouldn't work for us.
Wow. Mike,
who's left?
I was going to say Bournemouth manager, but I don't know his name.
No one ever knows it outside of Bournemouth.
I like him. I rate him. Mikey, how shit with Palace when you played them the other week? You didn't get a chance to get some licks in on Rich because he couldn't make it last week.
Yeah.
So. Take your lick.
To be fair to Palace, they were. It was a story of two shit teams, really, weren't it? Let's be honest. I mean, Everton was shit. Palace was shit. Palace
were all shit.
Hence why we're here.
We're fucking shit.
I think Everton probably had the chance to maybe make it 4-2, but I mean, look, honestly, it was a mundane, boring game of football played between two teams that can't really play football. And
yet those 5 goals.
I was going to say.
I get what Rich is saying, because when you've got a team with like Michael Elise and Eze in, I mean, it should be champagne football, shouldn't it, boys? But the way that they're sort of harnessed and pulled back, it just doesn't make sense. They really miss a centre forward as well, Palace, because it cost them against us.
Yeah,
there's a lot of similarities, and isn't there, to his gripes to some of the gripes we're hearing in the fan base? Missing a striker, not great football.
Yeah, it's a very similar criticisms. I mean, we think, when I say we, I'm talking about FFTV. We think we've got a really good squad, certainly mid-table, if not a little above the actual quality of the players we have. But we're just not performing well. And, you know, it's very difficult in Nottingham because Cooper has a real cult following, a big cult following. Fans will just not hear anything against him, no criticisms. Whereas we're a little bit more realistic. I personally, I'm neither Cooper in nor Cooper out. I just want Forest to win. And if he's doing a good job, keep him in. If he's not, get him out. Simple. And at the moment, we've got these great, progressive players, and we're still playing very negative football. I mean, I don't want to get onto the Forest-Brighton match yet, but the way we sat back against Brighton was shocking, truly shocking. We took the lead after a couple of minutes and then sat back. With the players we've got, it's very similar.
And what Rich said, I thought was really interesting when he said they didn't start to attack until they went behind. Lo and behold, 3-1 down, nothing happened.
Yeah, again.
Crazy.
Last season we lost 27 points from winning positions. This season, I believe, I've been told that we've already dropped 11 points from winning positions. Now that tells you that we're getting into the lead and then capitulating, i.e. sitting back and inviting teams onto us. And it's happening again and again and again. 11 points from winning positions is outrageous.
Yeah, but
2-0 up against Luton and you draw 2-2 in the last 10 minutes. With our players, no, it's not right.
At least we didn't lose to him, Rich. Eh?
Yeah, another 5 minutes we might have done.
All right, Mikey, you're not getting away with this, mate. I've been inspired by your video.
I hate you, Wolfie.
Thank you. I've been inspired, Mikey, by your videos all week. Yeah. Those Churchill-like speeches. We will fight them on the beaches. We will make it a fortress. It's going to be the most hostile environment in footballing history. 2 minutes in.
Oh, mate, honestly, it was. So the whole day, I got up there early, went and had some lunch. Then you could see all the people getting the corrupt banners out and the little flyers that we had, etc. When we were all ready to go, we had a few beers. We get into the stadium. It's absolutely bouncing, like the Everton fan. I don't think they showed it on Sky. I think they muted it down a little bit, but the place was absolutely rocking. The atmosphere, the environment, so aggressive. And then we come out, and within 3 minutes, we concede arguably the best goal I've ever seen live in my life.
Jammy.
He should have saved it, mate. He should have saved it.
Jammy goal. He missed it. It was a pass back to the goalie. That was. He missed it.
Yeah, that's
Mate,
it.
do you know how annoyed I am? I was thinking at least it's probably bagged goal of the season here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That went quick.
I just couldn't believe it. Like, I sat down and I just went, "That's Everton for you. That is Everton." Like, that's just how can you go in with so much aggression, so much pent up energy, and the players had come out and said that they were fighting and all of this stuff.
No, that comment's outrageous.
Comment of the day. They took it down by -10 decibels. Yeah, but crypto, Mikey turned into the Rock 2 weeks ago. He was all, just bring it. We'll take the points. We'll be ahead of Luton. We'll be out of the relegation zone by Sunday afternoon. I heard all your rhetoric, mate.
I said in my preview, I said, "There's no way we lose this game. No way we lose this game." And honestly, it was it was just unbelievable.
You lot had everybody fooled. Virtually everybody was saying the passion that's going to be there that day. It's the only time when I've seen, apart from Man U fans, virtually universally across the board, people saying Everton going to win that one. It's going to be a
I said it, yeah.
They won't be able to cope. You let the whole country down, mate.
Honestly,
You let yourself down, you let your team down, you let your country down.
You let football down.
We played all right. We had 2 off the line. Yeah. We hit the crossbar. We had a header off the line. We had more chances than Manchester United. We had more possession, more passing, more corners, and we just couldn't score. I mean, it's just a joke.
Now that
not
is Everton.
Up for next week,
Mike.
are you?
Go on, John.
I was saying, Mike was saying, like, goal of the season scored against us. That's so Everton. No, it's not. That can happen to any club. What's really Everton is 2.5 XG, more chances than the opposition, more shots on target, more this, more that. Couldn't find the back of the net. That is Everton right now. Because that was a much more even game than the scoreline suggested. It really was.
Did Sean Dyche come out and give his usual BS on XG? What was your XG? 2.5?
Our XG was higher than Man United in the end, I think. But he didn't really. He didn't really say anything. He said that the performance was fine and that if you're not going to put the ball in the net, you're not going to win a game of football. To be honest, it sounds awful, but I almost just didn't give a shit. Like, I just didn't give a shit because, like, as much as like the XG was up and the attempts were higher and all that stuff, the simple fact of the matter is there was players yesterday walking around on that pitch that just didn't give a shit. And bearing in mind, the fans had put so much effort into being, aggressive and hostile and all them things. The players really let us down yesterday in that sense. Really let us down.
Can I ask, Mikey, what was on those shitty pink leaflet things that would be?
It was
being held up. Was there any?
It might as well have been this.
It was.
It was like.
It was a picture of the Premier League logo corrupt underneath.
Yeah.
Okay.
When everybody held them up, it did look effective. Although the pink was a bit, the pink was a bit
like a bunch of red cards. And I just thought,
I thought that's what they were going to do.
I'd need to change my contrast a little or something.
Yeah. But I think that it's fair enough to go for that kind of process, and there needs to be something. But it did feel a bit, I don't know. It was a good visual, but there was no like I suppose it doesn't help with the goal being inside 3 minutes, but like
honestly,
that's what I was going to say. I think that was the issue.
flattened it.
The fact that you
Yeah.
conceded was like, oh.
flattened it a bit.
It
Just
flattened
needed
it.
to hold on for another 15, 20 minutes, try and get in front, and the atmosphere would have gone up again,
But
and it could have been a
the
different game.
whole thing was that when the crowd was there and the players walked out, and obviously they play the Premier League music usually, blah blah blah. We booed, so we booed it out. That was fine. And then the idea was that on the 10th minute, because obviously we've lost 10 points, we hold up the cards and we boo again, or we chant or whatever. And don't get me wrong, we still did it, but the wind was absolutely out of our sails at that point. And the other issue was we didn't even play well for the first 15 minutes. So it's like we walked in there with all this aggression, and literally we were like a dog wagging its tail after 5 minutes.
Do you know the thing that cracked me up the most? I was sitting there watching it yesterday, and my missus was in the room. And she was like, why are they booing their own players when they're coming out? She was like, she has no clue about what's going on in football and stuff. I was like, because this is a shit team. They don't like their players.
Honestly, when the ref had to change that VAR decision, and don't get me wrong, it was a penalty. So I'm not saying it wasn't a penalty.
Double agent Younger, double agent.
He had to change. He had to come over to the board right by me. And I just kept on thinking, like, his arsehole must be going, mate. It must be like that. Because how are you standing in front of 10,000 Everton fans looking at a monitor straight-faced when everyone is literally going, you're a wanker, all sorts of stuff. And it's just like...
Hey, careful. That's a red card offence these days.
I was just going to say, you need to be careful who you're insulting.
That was funny because I think it was Garnacho kicked the ball away and Decore got a yellow card for telling the referee that he kicked the ball away.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
But Mike, at our game, Anthony Taylor, I mean, he was getting stick from both sets of fans.
Yeah.
At one point, he had to come over to check a penalty VAR decision. And the funny thing was, 3 or 4 Forest players were standing about 10 yards behind him, going like this to the fans. Whipping the fans up against it. That didn't make sense to me, but that's funny anyway.
But on that
By the
point,
way, Mike, I was in Liverpool last week or whenever it was, and I had a walk around Anfield. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's nowhere near City Ground, obviously, but it's not a bad stadium.
Stinks of piss.
And then I took a walk across Stanley Park. Man, you got to move. You got to move.
Yeah, but have you seen the recent pictures of the stadium? I mean, the stadium that we're in trouble for, by the way. I mean, have you seen
the new one?
It looks incredible, don't it? I can't wait to play a game of football in there. But
it does look fantastic, mate.
The process. Look, I'm not saying, and I never have said that Everton aren't guilty. I'm not. I've never said that. We clearly are. We're £19.5 million over. Fair enough.
Who cares?
But the thing that annoyed me about it is it relates to costs towards the stadium. Nothing to do with the playing squad. Nothing to do with... I mean, it clearly isn't anything to do with the playing squad because they've been shit for years. So why was it a points deduction rather than a fine or a transfer embargo? That's the bit I don't understand.
Hey,
they're trying to make a point, I think.
Do you think that football fans give a shit whether Everton spent £20 million or not extra? 20 million quid? Who cares?
Yeah, but the teams that went down will.
Horrible people do. I couldn't give a...
John, do you give a shit? John, you definitely give a shit, don't you, John?
Do I give a shit that they spent a bit over their means? On the sort of... I do in terms of the fact that I think there should be repercussions for it because it's just a simple rule. But I do think that 10 points seems significant. I was expecting it to be what the EFL do with these sort of circumstances. They'd go 6 points with another 6 suspended, which is what happens basically every single time in the EFL. And I think most Everton fans probably would have gone, you know what? Okay, we can deal with 6, and it encourages the ownership to just not mess up from now on, so we don't get the other 6. And then I think everyone would have just moved on. But I do think that the issues will be teams like Leeds, like Leicester, like a bunch of others that have gone down in the period that Everton, in that sort of 3-4 year period that Everton's finances are involved. Because if this ruling stands, then they'll start trying to get the money out of Everton, which will just mess things up further.
I reckon you'll end up. I reckon you'll end up. Six. All right.
No, just not. Is it like rumored 100 million?
Is
it rumored to be 100 million?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
It's rumored that the Premier League teams, it would be 100 million because that's how much you lose when you go into the Championship or something.
We're part of that class action.
I think Leicester.
Why are you part of that class action? You're the only team this doesn't affect, really.
I don't think we should.
No, because the one season you stayed up when Everton have also stayed up for those conditions, you finished above Everton anyway. So it made no difference to your financial
impact. It made a huge difference. What are you talking about?
No difference whatsoever.
Huge difference. We drew with them twice last year. That's 4 points we dropped, which should have put us ahead of you and another team. There's money in position.
Oh, right. Okay,
so
sure. That would have made a huge difference. Because I forgot you spent very little last season, didn't you?
John, you don't need to attack us just because of him. I don't think Forest should be in this conversation whatsoever.
No, I'm attacking Wolverine. Don't worry, Ian. I'm attacking Wolverine. That's all I'm doing.
The argument
Leicester have got a real case.
Yeah, Leicester are the ones with the best case.
Yeah. The argument's going to be, if this happens to Everton, whenever it finishes with Manchester City, what's going to happen? And equally, if Everton are hit with lawsuits and whatever, then surely the whole league, to some aspect, can go after Manchester City. And the kind of worms that have been opened from the Premier League now, it's actually mind-boggling. It's actually mind-boggling. And don't get me wrong, as I say, the punishment is absolutely, it's not justified in my opinion. 10 points. How you get 9 points for going into administration, but 10 points for breaking financial fair play by 19 million is beyond me. However, we did deserve a punishment, and I think 5 or 6 points and suspended 6 would have been absolutely fine, but it is.
I don't think you deserved any punishment at all because I hate the whole FFP bollocks. I know it's all a load of shite. Owners should be able to spend exactly how much they want on their own teams, and what it should be.
You can up to a point, though, Anne. Up to a point.
Yeah, but it should be. Hang on, let me just finish this, John, and then you can jump in. It should be a season on season, not 3 years. Each season, their book should be open for independent adjudicators to be able to inspect them, and providing they're financially secure. I'm even in favour of like a bond at the beginning of the season to cover the costs, something like that. I'm even in favour of that. What I don't like is this bullshit. And people say it was brought about for fairness. No, it wasn't. It was brought out to protect the big clubs.
No, it's not out of fairness.
Hang on. The likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man City, they thought because of their massive incomes, if we put this constraint on the lower clubs, they'd be able to keep all their money and remain at the top. However, the teams at the bottom, they've got their own issues. The Championship, the First Division and the Second Division have got different rules to the Premier League anyway. So it's all a load of bullshit, and it's backfired on the likes of Man City because the whole idea was we could spend what we like because we earn the most, so it'll keep us at the top. I think the whole thing stinks, and it should be a season-on-season thing where an independent person checks to make sure that club is not getting into financial difficulties, and providing they're not, the owner should be able to put in what he likes. They own the club. That's my view on it. I think the whole thing.
Go on, John.
It can't work like that. It just can't. I mean, Matt's point there just brings it up. Saudis and Man City would win the season, would win every single year because they spend $3 billion a year. But now Newcastle would. And then you've got teams like, but the thing is also you have to protect the teams down the bottom. If a team comes in, no, you have to, and because if someone comes in and goes, I think I can take Luton. If I think someone comes in and says I can take Luton,
let him finish, and you had to let him finish first.
I'll let you finish a point. Give me a second, okay? If someone comes into, I don't know, Crystal Palace, let's say. Someone comes into Crystal Palace and goes, think the previous owner has done bollocks with it. I think I can turn this team into a multi-million-pound organisation that wins the league every season. Throws in a hell of a bunch of money, spends $250 million on players, and suddenly the wages shoot up. That guy loses interest in a year when he realises he can't win the league in one transfer window, jumps out, And now there's a massive wage bill left under you know, the new ownership of Crystal Palace that can't afford it, and you're stuck with a team that now can't pay their players quickly. All the money floods out, go into administration, you go down the drain. That's what happened to Portsmouth. So you have to protect.
That's why I suggested a bond, John. That's why I suggested a bond at the beginning of the season.
Okay, but you still need to protect players from certain ownerships. So it's
I also believe in a wage cap and a transfer limit as well, by the way. I think we could wipe out all the shit in one go by saying there's a transfer limit. You're allowed to spend £150 million a year on transfers. That's it. You could have one brilliant player or 10 average players. It's up to you. That would solve it instantly. Same with the wages. 200,000, whatever you want.
Whatever wouldn't be able to buy anyone. Like, who would Palace get? It doesn't matter if it's 150 million cap or a billion cap.
Palace can't
Everyone's only going to spend a fiver.
But Palace can't anyway.
We will just re-sign.
Anyway. It'll make no
Joe
difference.
Ward. We'll just re-sign Joe Wood in the final plan anyway. So.
And Schlupp, he'd come back.
Oh,
150, is 150 million not enough for a team like Palace to spend in one window? I'd have thought so.
You know what?
I don't think they ever have done.
You Rich.
No, the one season we actually did spend any money was Vieira's first season, and we did very well actually. That was 65 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Gay,
it puts it on a more. If you talk about fairness and equality, it makes it more fair and equal. Because Man City can't spend 300 million. They can only spend the same as Forest or Palace or Everton. So that's got to make it fairer.
You need the wage cap to come in as well, obviously.
And the wage cap. That's why I say it's all. You know, it's not just a one simple answer. It's quite blasé.
It doesn't work.
Are better than what we've got at the moment.
It doesn't work because you would need every other league to do it as well. Anyway, let's not get into an FFP argument. We're here to take the piss out.
It would be FIFA that would do it. It would be across the board.
I say Ant does it. Between John and Ant chat, I think we can agree they'll get some kind of decision on it. But let's move on to John. John is Eze's confirmed 3 to 4 weeks out. Again,
that's not as bad as it could have been. At least
what was that? I missed that.
Eze has been confirmed 3 to 4 weeks.
You've already been missing 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, a month ish.
You see, John, you're being sympathetic and nice to everyone now. Has this got anything to do with your recent 3-1 victory? And Jimmy, by the way, pulled out very late today from coming on after he'd been giving it all the big I am, mate. But yeah, I'm going to say, as much as it pains me to, and you know it does, and I mean this from the heart, I thought you were brilliant at the weekend. And I think you have turned the corner. And as I said, if you remember, I thought you had the best transfer window of everyone at the start of the summer. And I think your manager is turning it around, mate. So fair play to you guys. You were starting to waver.
One win over Sheffield. Bloody hell.
2.
Well, and Newcastle and Burnley. So, you know, 3 wins.
Oh, sorry, I don't take notice of it. That's brilliant. No, I take it all back. What I just said.
Right. I noticed.
Take it all back.
And don't worry.
I'll take it all back.
I don't pay attention to Forest either.
I don't blame you. I really don't.
Yeah, it was a pretty comfortable victory. Bournemouth were good, and we made Sheffield United look worse than they were. But they kind of were bad enough to make us look better than I think we actually were at the same time. They were pretty darn shocking for the most part. Disappointing that we didn't turn that into a 5 or 6 nil, to be honest, because we had the chances to. We had so many good opportunities. But yeah, I think it's just it's difficult to say how much of the plan is coming into place, because I think he's just getting the most out of a few players. He's getting the best out of a few of his players at the moment. Players like Antoine Semenyo are coming in and having a great impact.
He looks ridiculously good, man. Seriously,
he's the player that most Bournemouth fans forgot about when we brought him in January, because he was injured for basically the entire second half of last season when we brought him in. He did come in and score a goal, but against Leeds, I think that wasn't a 4-1 win. But then he started this season, scored against West Ham, he assisted against West Ham. He scored against Liverpool, and he had a few good appearances, and then he just got dropped, and he didn't play at all. And then he's played the last 2 games. He's looked absolutely amazing on the wing. The Sheffield United's fullbacks could not deal with him. They just bounced off him. And it was the exact same case when he went up against Lewis Hall against Newcastle. He's got the strength and the pace and the skill to just do anyone. So really excited to look at those two. Tavernier getting his first couple goals. Just a shame Solanke didn't score or assist because I've got him in my fantasy team and that sucked. But
Can I just say there, John? Right, as much as I've bigged you up, you did cheat on that third goal.
No, we didn't. Have you seen what happened on that?
I kind of it looked like a drop ball to them, and then you just took the ball off them.
Yeah, because the ball was dropped, and the player went. I don't know what brain fart the Sheffield United player had. The ball got fired across. It was going to go miles out of play, but it hit the referee, and so he had to stop it, and he gave it back to Sheffield United. Told the Bournemouth player to just move back a bit, then dropped the ball right in front of the Sheffield United players at his feet. And for some reason, the Sheffield United player is telling the ref to move the Bournemouth player again or something. But the referee's dropped the ball, so the game carries on. He picks the ball up from it, and we attack. We lose the ball in 2 seconds, and then it bounces once back and forth. And when we score the third goal, so there was still plenty of chances for Sheffield United to stop the goal. It was really weird. I've quote tweeted a Sheffield fan who picked up, who showed that bit up on Twitter, but it's so weird. There's one of many errors.
The spirit of the game, mate. I mean, I expect that from you a lot, but he didn't touch the ball.
It landed at his feet.
He didn't touch the ball, man.
John,
it's there.
John,
it's right there for him.
John, just say tough titty. That's it. We scored. Brilliant.
And they could have done something about it, and they chose not to.
I admire it. Ask Wolf if he's going to start calling you brilliant mouth or something instead of what he does call you.
Well, to be fair, after this, your starts of the season and after our starts of the season, how does it feel to be 1 point ahead? Actually, I won't ask Wolf because you're neutral, aren't you? Neutral.
Ask the chat.
Yeah, Bournemouth are now 1 point behind Forest. Forest are
I expected Bournemouth to do well this season, so it's not like a big shock or anything. They've had a really terrible start,
but it is interesting that we got, as particularly our manager was in sort of favourites to get sacked for a while. It was like, you've been crap all the start through the season, 3 points, no wins, and now 3 wins in 4, and suddenly things have massively turned around. And it's Forest and Fulham as well. I think Marcus Silva's not getting as much scrutiny as he probably should do, but then they play a game in 5 to 20 minutes. But yeah, it's tightening up again down there. Luton have obviously got their win, so they're coming up close behind us. It's
we won't be far away.
We shouldn't be.
We won't be far away. Up the toffees.
Mate,
hey, John, have you thought about asking Everton if you can build a new ground in their car park or something on their new ground? It's all right having these great results.
Well, we are. I mean, I'm sure you're going to love that we have possible ideas of a 20,000 seater.
How are you going to fill that?
Sorry?
How are you going to fill that?
He's going to bring his sofa over and put it in the corner.
We should get it half full, maybe.
Bournemouth have got 6,000 waiting on the season ticket list, haven't you, John?
We've got a lot of people waiting to get regular tickets. So we've always got issues with getting any ticket as a home fan if you don't have home points.
You can't deny it. They've got a fantastic beach as well.
Absolutely, one of the best beaches.
Wait, you got 6,000 people waiting to see Championship next year.
You don't want to say that yet, Orby, because you know how quickly that's going to turn and bite you in the backside.
Never will. Chat, shut up. I don't want to hear any jinxerings in there.
Can I ask the Forest fans a question? And the Forest, Forest Ant and Wolfie. I feel like we talk about all our clubs. It's really important we get some feedback on Mr. Cooper because it's not going well.
And I'm neutral here, so over to you.
No, Wolfie, I want to hear from you first before we.
You want to hear from me first?
Yeah,
you want to hear from me first?
Yeah.
He's tactically inept. He's always been a negative manager, something the Swansea fans told us all about. He's at his limit in terms of where he can take Forest. He is scared of attacking unless we're losing or it's in the first 5 minutes of the game. And his interviews are really starting to grain on me. They really are. It's the same old drivel every match. Blame the ref. It was never a penalty, but our one was definitely a penalty, even though the incidents were almost identical. But I don't blame the refs. I try to support them. But you're blaming the refs. I'm not using the penalty as an excuse, but it changed the game. No, it didn't. We were already losing, and we were never fighting back into that game. Look, for me, what Cooper's done, he will always be a legend. And I am at the stage now where if he went tomorrow, today, in a week, in a year, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. He'll always go down for getting us up. He always will. But I can't. I, as a football admirer, enjoy watching football being played. Two teams battling it out to see who the better team is. I do not like watching a team where, because you're coming onto the, here's what it is with Cooper. It's almost an inferiority complex where he comes onto the pitch saying, you lot are better than us. Therefore, I'm going to over-respect you and low block against you. Yeah, that's what it is. And when we're playing a crappy team like a Palace or a Bournemouth or whatever, yeah, I'm not going to say you yet till Sunday, man. I'll save my cusses for next Monday. He doesn't know how to break those teams down. But what he's got the majority of the fan base still with him. He always will. He always will. So it's up to Marinakis as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned. That's where I am with it. He's no different to Roy Hodgson. Exactly what Rich was saying earlier. He could have put a red shirt on and he was saying everything about Cooper. All the stuff you were saying about Dyche when you hated Dyche 2 weeks ago and now you love him. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing.
I wouldn't go that
That's
far.
where I am. Huh?
I wouldn't go that far. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
You start Ashley Young over and over again when we've
Exactly. But we've got that as well. You know, we've had favorite FCs in our team plenty. What I don't look, and I don't care if people are Cooper in or Cooper out. I don't give. That's the whole point of this channel. Say what you want. Yeah. What baffles me? What baffles me? The one thing I don't understand, and they're well within their rights to say it, is when two things. Some Forest fans will happily get relegated and keep Cooper in the job. Yeah, because he's the best one to get us up. And when it comes to Forest winning, the praise first goes to Cooper. When it comes to Forest losing, the fault is with the players. And that doesn't sit well with me. Doesn't sit well with me. So that's where I am. I don't know what Anne wants to add to that, but that's where I am.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything Wolfie said. I mean, I adore Steve Cooper for what he did for us, but that's gone. I mean, you get so many people saying, look, we were last year, look what, blah, blah. That doesn't matter. It's where we are now. It's the squad we've got now. And I believe the squad we've got now is a very, very good squad. We're obviously short of a striker with Taiwo being out. I accept that. But apart from that, we've got a really good squad with quality players in. And I believe that a better, more progressive manager would have us higher up the table than we currently are. And that's the fact of the matter. We're Nottingham Forest. I'm sorry, I know that sounds big-headed, but for me, we're Nottingham Forest and we should be doing better than we are doing with the squad we've got. However, I do worry about who comes in next. I'm not one of the, I mean, I know Wolfie's, I don't care, anybody. I'm not like that. I want to know who's coming in next because there are worse managers than Steve Cooper.
How are you going to know who's coming in next, Dan? You don't.
No, I'm saying I'm worried. That's, I think, fairly natural to be concerned about who's coming in next. Do you know what I mean? He could bring Chris Hughton in next. Do you know what I'm saying? It's an obvious thing to be worried about, no matter how dissatisfied you are with the current manager. Whereas you just say, Lopetegui plays the most horrible, disgusting football. He falls out with everybody and their dog. Lopetegui ain't the answer. I'm telling you that right now.
Rich, would you take Lopetegui?
You'll be sick of him within 3 weeks. I would not take Lopetegui over Cooper. No,
no, he's
everything.
He's erratic.
The man's an arsehole. So, Rich, what were you saying? Were you disagreeing with me?
No, I'm saying he's erratic. I don't like the way he sets his teams up.
Yeah, it's a knob. So, no, I wouldn't take Lopetegui. But anyway, that's not the point. We're talking about Cooper. So, at the moment, with me, I'm not satisfied with the manager we've got. The football's dreadful. I mean, I was at a match on Saturday against Brighton. We were horrible. I've heard people saying, oh, Brighton are a great team. No, we were horrible. Scored the goal and sat back. What's that all about? Against an injury-ravaged side. So I'm not happy with Cooper, but I'm kind of scared about who else we might get. Sorry, Mike. I know that's not a brilliant answer, but You know, that's
Is
where
that,
it is at
no,
the
no,
moment.
I get it. And the only reason I'm interested is, you know, there was that period last season with Forest where, you know, a lot of people thought Forest at one point were going down. There was a long period of games where I don't think you've won a game or you didn't get many points.
We all did.
Yeah.
And he sort of had all this pressure on. And if anything, from where you were last season to where you are now, from an outsider looking in, I kind of feel like you haven't progressed. You've probably gone backwards a touch.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Fucking
Do you know
memory.
what? Do you know, there's every time you talk to an opposition fan, they say these things when they haven't got Forest goggles on. Like I was talking to Maz, a Brighton fan. I was like, he's saying the exact same thing. But what the Forest fan base, who are like fully Cooper in till I die, say is, oh, this time last season we were bottom of the league. This time last season we lost 5-0 to Arsenal. We only lost 2-1 to Arsenal. Yet your point score is still the same as a big fat 0. Oh, we only lost 3-2 to Man U. And you just look at it and you think, why are you comparing the start of last season to the start of this season when that was a freshly promoted team? Why don't you compare the game before or the end of last season? You know why are you rolling it back a whole year? The year before, where you compare? I don't know why you lot got me started on this. I'm neutral, but anyway,
we've won 2 away games since we got promoted. That's Southampton and Chelsea. That's it.
We should have beat Everton. We should have beat Everton. Yeah. Anyway, let's move this forward because I want to do a quick review on the games coming up because there are some tasty ones coming up. Let's just finish off with the Forest thing because obviously, Mikey, we've got you coming up next week. This is a big game. He is under pressure, Cooper, from our end. There has been all these rumors in the papers and what have you. How are you feeling about it? Because you guys are better away from home than at home currently.
Forest is a tough place to go. We all know that. The home record speaks for itself. Everton, I know there was a bit of a debate, but last season, I think we were 2-1 up, I think. And, you know, we ended up, that fighting mentality that Forest have got, they ended up getting 2-2. It's a game that genuinely could go any way. Everton have been better away from home, but that's because they've been playing a low block and allowing teams to press at them. The difference was with Forest, it was a game of 2 footballing really poor teams. Whereas Forest can play football, whether they choose to or not is different. So it's a tough one to decide. It's a tough one to talk about. I think Forest have got more than enough quality to beat Everton. Everton have more than enough quality to beat Forest. It's just who turns up on the day. And if I'm being honest, I think it's probably a 1-1 draw. Do I think Forest fans will be happy with that? Absolutely not. I think, you know, an Everton side.
You'd be surprised, mate.
I think Forest would expect to beat Everton. But you are right, we're better from home. So, man, I don't know. I think it's 1-1 all day. And I know I'm sitting on the fence, but Forest are too good at home to lose to Everton.
Interesting. Chat, would you take a draw? Those of you Forest fans in the chat, would you take a draw? And Ant, same question to you.
I mean,
yeah,
just to ask.
I seem to be lagging a bit, but I'll carry on talking. Yeah, I know I am. I don't know what's happened.
Wait, while you're lagging, just let Mike finish his point, and then we might sort you.
I thought he had. Sorry, mate.
No, he had. But just while you're lagging, it might sort itself out.
In terms of Forest,
I'll go out
at home. What is the record? When was the last time you lost at home?
Saturday.
Before that,
Manchester United. When was it, chat? In April last season?
That's what I mean. And before, you don't lose many games at home. And when you do lose, you lose to teams that on paper are top 6, top 4 sides. You don't lose to teams like Everton at home. You grind something out, and that's why I think he won't. That's why I don't think you lose to us. I think it's a 1-1 draw.
See, I know this sounds weird, right? But technically it doesn't. I wouldn't have minded a couple of defeats if a couple of those draws were wins. Do you know what I mean? And accumulated more points overall. So, but at the same time, I do like that it was a fortress that, you know, they had that air around it and what have you. But yeah, most of the chat is saying we need to win and they want to win. So would you take a draw?
Would I take a draw? No, not right now. That doesn't mean I think that we're definitely going to win. It just means that we shouldn't be, for our progress, we shouldn't be thinking a home draw against Everton is a good result. Yeah, doesn't mean I disrespect Everton. It's just where we are. But I'm really worried about Everton. I mean, from what I've got to be honest with you. I started watching the Everton Man U match. As soon as they got that lucky first goal, I switched it off because I fucking hate Man U, mate. I hate them. I didn't want to see them win. So when I got that first lucky goal, I switched off. So I don't know how well they played, but from what you're saying, you had a high XG again. We're letting a lot of goals in. We've got, I think, 3 times this season we've lost 3-2. Oh, that's not right, is it? There's something not right when you're losing 3-2 on a regular basis. So I am worried about Everton.
We are averaging, and I think 2.05 goals per game against.
Yeah,
that's made Mike smile.
Yeah, so I am worried about Everton. I don't think, no disrespect, I don't think Everton are a good side, but I think they've got the tools to open us up. You know, if I looked at our squad and theirs, I would pick ours every day, and our first team I would pick every day. But this Brighton result has really knocked me back. After we beat Villa, I thought, right, it looks like we're building again. And then to get beaten at home by Brighton and play so poorly and so defensively worries me. The only thing is, we're going to play low block or defensively against Everton, aren't we? We know we are. You know, so
I'll tell you what.
So
I'll tell you what, Mikey, we're doing a preview at some point this week, aren't we? So we'll go into it fully there. So if you guys have had a little taster of it, but I want to get the other 2 teams in. I know John's got to shoot off in a minute, and we'll get you all away in time for the Fulham Wolves thrilling game. But John, with all your chest, you're coming up against Villa next, who just beat Spurs. But we did beat them at home. How are you feeling about this Villa one?
The one thing is that you kind of are the perfect antidote to Villa's strategy, because Villa wants to be in possession. They want to be in possession. They want to be aggressive. They play a very high line, and obviously they weren't great on the day. I don't think you doubt that Villa weren't at their best, but at the same time, you were able to take the ball off them in midfield a lot and counter to your heart's content. And I think as much as Bournemouth kind of have it in them to do that, they do not. They don't play the kind of low block game that you do, so we're not really set up to do that. I do think we do have the players to catch them off their offside trap, though, because they do their line is very high. We're at home. They'll still come onto us, and we've got players like Semenyo, Tavernier, Solanke that can probably catch them. And I think Pau Torres is not that good as a defender, so I think Solanke could do well against him. But I do think they'll score. I certainly don't see us managing to keep them out. So this will be a tough one. Then them losing Kamara, he's suspended after his 5th yellow card, so that one's a really good one for us, because he's really useful in their sort of defensive setup, and he definitely helps them progress the ball from the back in possession. So I think I do still favour Villa to win the game. There's no doubt. I mean, they're top 4 as things currently stand. But I think we'll give them a good go.
Table, John. They would have been top of the table if they'd beaten us. So what the hell?
Oh, really? Well, they're only 2 points off top, to be fair. They're only 2 points behind Arsenal. So, I certainly think, Villa should win this game. But I think we'll give them a decent go of it. I expect us to score at some point. But
are you at home, John?
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got a chance then, because their high line is ridiculous. You know, everybody praised Postecoglou, and now they're all starting to say, well, hang on a sec, he plays one way. Unai Emery, honestly, the high line they hold is ridiculous.
It was in our half.
It works, though. It works.
Not away, not away. They've got. Have you seen their away record?
Oh yeah, their away record shocking in comparison to their home form. Absolutely.
This is why I asked if at home you've got a chance.
Yeah, but they did beat Spurs. Just now, and they've got, what was it, about 37 goals offside that Spurs scored, and they got ruled out for offside. So, you know,
Son missed got a hat trick of offsides, didn't he?
yeah, he's got a hat-trick of offside goals. It was ridiculous.
So you get that slightly right, and you see why I say they're so vulnerable. Get it right.
We definitely can. But I'm gonna have to head off, guys. I'm gonna do the Bournemouth review. Guys.
Cheers, John. We'll catch up with you next week.
And
Richie, guys. We'll catch you next week. Sorry,
Richie versus Jace. Are you guys doing some kind of joint watch along thing, or what's going on here?
Well, that's the plan. But he messaged me today saying that he might actually be at the game now. So I'll find out on Wednesday.
Thank you.
I'll find out on Wednesday. But it don't matter. We're losing that game.
Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah.
You're just done, aren't you, Rich? You're just broken.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Jason's just said he thought it started at 8 o'clock.
I know, the idiot. I just saw that. Yeah. So, seriously, Rich, you giving yourself no hope?
No. We're not beating them. If I was at home, maybe a chance, but we're not beating them. Not with our squad.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I kind of... Chad, do you feel better having Rich on tonight, Chad, after what we went through this weekend? Mike, has he cheered you up as well, his depression?
Like me at the end of last season. It's like me when I sat there and was like, we're going down, boys. We're down, we're finished, we're broken. He's clueless. Like, Rich, I feel for you, mate. I've been there, I've experienced it. And you better than us.
Oh, hang on. In the chat, we're getting Paul Rich.
I don't know about
take over
that.
from Sorry Mike.
It's gone from Sorry Mike.
Sorry Mike to Paul Rich.
But Mikey, can you give him a few words? Because you were in his shoes, not even last season, Mike. I'd say about 3-4 weeks ago. I remember watching a couple of your videos where you were just broken with Daesh, with Everton, with everything.
It was after the Luton game. I remember I did the
predicted 6-1.
Say again?
After you predicted 6-1, if memory serves me.
Yeah. That's what. Do you know? That's why I asked you who the Luton fan was that was coming in the group. Because honestly, I'd fly around that house right now, mate.
Just chat. We got a Luton guy on from next week. So okay. So Rich, there is hope, Rich, because Mike was there after Luton. You're there now after Luton. Do you take any kind of, any hope from Mike's position to yours?
No. I mean, if we somehow draw or win against, I will be unbearable. I just don't see it happening.
You do know Jace is going to be unbearable next week if he beats you. After what you did to him last season with your bubble machine and everything, there are receipts, man. Are you worried?
I'm going to get cooked.
Chat, you are not going to want to miss next week's Beat the Drop. You really are not. Right.
Can't we get Jason for a 5-minute preview because he's back home now?
No, because we got to wrap up for 8.
I've got to wrap up.
Yeah,
okay.
But we will have Viz will be on next week. Jace will be on next week. Rich will be on maybe blowing those bubbles. Oh man, we're gonna have some beef as well. There's a lot of beef next week. Forest, Everton, West Ham against Crystal Palace. We've also got Sheffield United are playing Burnley, so that's gonna be interesting between Vizza and Jimmy. There's going to be a lot of heads up next week. You're not going to want to miss it. So we're going to wrap it up.
Am I going to be singing the Z-Cars theme? That's the big question.
Da, 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 da.
Do you know what? That got stuck in my head yesterday. I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like it.
And all the kids are saying, Z-Cars? What's that?
Quality, that's what it is. Up the toughies.
All right, on that note, chat, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you've enjoyed Rich's depression today, make sure you thank him by subscribing to his channel, Mikey's channel, John's channel as well. All the links are in the description. And I can't wait for next week's Beat the Drop. It's gonna be one of the best ones ever. Thank you for watching. We'll see you then. Come on, you Reds.